In this video, I'm going to talk about the dynamics of both runners and chasers, anxious and avoidance. You've never heard this video before, and please stay until the end. The more the anxious or chasers of love resist to fill up their void because they're not willing to feel through any uncomfortable emotions such as rejection, abandonment, and the grief and loss of love from the outer world, the more they resist to see that part of themselves and fulfill their own void, the more they polarize their opposite other. The avoidance, the runners, either fearful or dismissive, it doesn't really matter. And so the more they polarize them, they become a lot more dismissive. So now, no, I'm not saying that the chasers and anxious and fearful on the anxious spectrum make the other ones who they are. No, they each attract their opposite other. So in the case that the chasers, anxious and fearful on the anxious spectrum, resist to fill up their inner void and self-source, they will actually magnetize an avoidant or runner equivalent to how much they are avoiding themselves. So the runners and avoidance on the other spectrum will be actually the ones that are going to be pushing them away. As much as they're resisting to actually connect with their inner world and self-source, they're going to get the mirror of a person that will be pushing them away like they're pushing their own inner world. The more a runner, dismissive avoidant, or fearful avoidant push their outer world away and don't want it in fear that they're going to see they're going to feel the pain, they're going to see their inner shadows and dark side that until now they didn't want to see, and they were always blaming the outer world. The more they're avoiding to do that, the more they're going to run into a connection with a person that is a big, huge chaser of love, or an anxious attached or fearful avoidant really resisting to see their inner world and blaming them for all their pain, blaming the runners, the avoidance, for all the unlove or for the love that they're withdrawing or they're not giving. So no matter who you are on this dynamic, you play a very, very important role, because you can actually just shift your polarity to find the equilibrium within, to balance your energy from within, to heal your inner child, to self-source, or to actually grow through the trigger and connect and transform whatever is negative into actual growth. If you're taking it in on yourself to do this work, you're actually shifting dynamics within your own being, and the person you'll be attracting will be equivalent to who you now are, not who you have been. So whether you're a runner, a chaser, anxious, fearful, or dismissive, it doesn't really matter the title. Why we put titles is so that we can see ourselves how we are all resisting to grow the moment we actually lose love, or do not get love, or we actually pull in pain, triggering from others. In that moment, we need to catch ourselves in that very moment and be here for our inner child. Actually, in the moment we are here for inner child, either because we're wanting to fill up a void or because we're wanting to grow through a trigger, not taking it personally, not taking it like a personal attack, but rather as an opportunity to grow. Nobody wants to hurt us, dismissive avoidance or fearful avoidance or runners. Everybody has pain. How we deal with it changes the outcome. It's not what it is. So yeah, when we are actually seeing the world with a negative, through a negative lens, they all look like they're here to get us. They all look like they're, like relationships don't really look safe. However, if we're in a growth mindset, no matter who the person is and what their intention is behind what it is they're doing, I could actually always win from either negative or positive that's coming towards me. This is for all the runners, avoidance. And chasers and anxious and fearful, on the anxious spectrum, remember this, that the more you're willing to lose love, to not be given love by anybody on your outer world, and instead of blaming them as being narcissistic or unloving, you actually turn inwards and actually generate that self-source, that ignite that love from within. The more you are able to do that, the more you heal this dynamic. And whatever you can do for you, you actually bring it out through the other. You actually bring out from anyone you meet that hero because you've become your hero in your narrative, in your journey. And for the avoidance and runners, the moment you stop seeing villains on your outer world, you actually learn how to become a sage, a guru, a person who is wise enough to transform, to, I was looking for the word, to transmute the negative into the positive, like alchemists used to do, to turn lead into gold. And we are all here to grow and learn. And if we're willing to look at each other as guides, teachers, gurus, and healers, we're actually going to grow and shift our inner war and our outer war into love and peace. The reason why I'm talking about runners, chasers, all avoidance, and all anxious and fearful avoidance in the same video is because it's very important to understand ourselves and others in the opposite dynamic. That way we see how the very similar we are and the same we are. We're all wanting to avoid pain and just experience love, and we're kind of like resisting the actual process to actually become the very thing we want. As long as we're aware that we're resisting it, we're a lot closer to becoming the relationship we're looking for.